Chapter 6. Notorious Nodes. Bitcoin was designed to scale with larger blocks, so why would anybody think that big blocks are a problem? While it's impossible to know the internal motivations of the Bitcoin core developers, this chapter will address their stated reasons for keeping the blocks small. All the objections to big blocks revolve around one core idea. As the block size increases, the cost to run a full node also increases. The more expensive it is to run a full node, the fewer people will run them, and the more centralized the network will become. Therefore, by keeping blocks small, more people can run nodes, which keeps the network decentralized. The core developer, Vladimir Vanderlaan, stated it clearly in 2015. Quote, "I understand the advantages of scaling. I do not doubt a block size increase will work. Although there may be unforeseen issues, I'm confident they'll be resolved. However, it may well make Bitcoin less useful for what sets it apart from other systems in the first place, the possibility for people to run their own bank without special investment in connectivity and computing hardware." End quote. There are several problems with this idea. Most fundamentally, the idea that users need to run their own full nodes in order to run their own bank is incorrect. Bitcoin was designed so that regular people don't have to run their own full nodes. They can use lighter software. Remember, a full node downloads a copy of the entire blockchain and validates every single transaction on the network. This is unnecessary for almost everybody. Satoshi designed Bitcoin with Simplified Payment Verification, or SPV, in mind, which allows users to verify their own transactions with a tiny amount of data. Using SPV, you cannot verify a stranger's transactions, nor can you verify every transaction ever made. But most people have no reason to do that. Satoshi was not foolish enough to design a cash system where every user had to download and verify the entire world's transactions. There's no way such a system could scale. Second, the fact that the costs of validation increase with the size of blocks is not a problem. Satoshi could not have been clearer when he wrote, quote, "The current system, where every user is a network node, is not the intended configuration for large scale. That would be like every Usenet user running their own NNTP server. The design supports letting users just be users. The more burden it is to run a node, the fewer nodes there will be. Those few nodes will be big server farms. The rest will be client nodes that only do transactions and don't generate any coins." End quote. And he was also clear when he stated, quote, "Only people trying to create new coins would need to run network nodes. At first, most users would run network nodes, but as the network grows beyond a certain point, it will be left more and more to specialists with server farms of specialized hardware." End quote. Satoshi was so clear about this that it's impossible to misinterpret. His idea makes perfect sense. In every industry, businesses tend to specialize in what they do best. Maintaining Bitcoin's network is no different. Satoshi envisioned big server farms at the center of the network with regular users connecting to them. Now, it's fine to dislike this idea, but it's how Bitcoin was designed. It's analogous to email. Technically, it is possible for anybody to set up their own email server and connect to the global email network. But why would you? It's difficult to set up and maintain, and the vast majority of people have no reason to do so. So in most cases, we leave it to the specialists. Gavin, Mike, and Satoshi were not the only people who thought this way. The early forums are filled with other developers and users who also understood that the system does not require most people to run their own node. Alan Rayner, who created the popular Armory wallet, said in 2015, quote, "The goals of a global transaction network and everybody must be able to run their own node with a $200 Dell laptop are not compatible. We need to accept that a global transaction system cannot be fully, consistently audited by everybody and their mother." End quote. Even supporters of Bitcoin Core have admitted that their perspectives on nodes is quite different from the original. Thamos is the pseudonym of the owner of the most popular discussion platforms for Bitcoin, who later played a central role in the censorship of big blockers. But even he admitted, quote, Satoshi definitely intended to increase the hard max block size. I believe that Satoshi expected most people to use some sort of lightweight node, with only companies and true enthusiasts being full nodes. My current view is similar to Satoshi's." End quote. Furthermore, it's not even clear that the total number of people running nodes would be smaller if the costs increased. The total number of hobbyists running nodes would be smaller, but if Bitcoin was the new financial network of the globe, thousands of companies would have financial incentives to run their own nodes. As Satoshi says in the white paper, quote, "Businesses that receive frequent payments will probably still want to run their own nodes for more independent security and quicker verification." End quote. The historical facts are clear. Bitcoin was not designed for regular users to run their own nodes. Satoshi was explicit about this on multiple occasions, saying, quote, "The design outlines a lightweight client that does not need the full blockchain. It's called Simplified Payment Verification. The lightweight client can send and receive transactions. It just can't generate blocks. It does not need to trust a node to verify payments. It can still verify them itself." End quote. Massive scaling was always possible with big blocks, and the infrastructure was supposed to be maintained by specialist server farms. Despite this, the Bitcoin core developers decided they didn't like Satoshi's design, and they thought they could improve it by having regular users download the entire blockchain and verify every transaction that takes place on it, even though they have no financial interest in doing so. That is currently the governing idea on the BTC network, and it's the reason transaction throughput is restricted and fees are high.